Alright class, in this short video we're going to be talking about housing in Japan and some of the differences between US homes and Japanese homes. Alright, so first off let's address the major problem that Japan is facing. Housing in Japan is a major problem. One reason for this is simply the lack of flat land. If you look at the picture on the bottom left, you can see, just kind of comparing Japan with the United States. The United States has way more land than Japan does, and part of this is because, and part of the problem too is Japan has very mountainous terrain, so that makes it very hard to build homes. So in relation to that, Japanese homes are much smaller than in the United States. Many Japanese homes are many Japanese live in homes that are no bigger than a living room in the United States. So if you look here on the left picture on the right, you have the average size of a Japanese apartment. As you can see, not very big, but it has all the main things that you would need. Obviously, a TV, a bed to sleep on, a couch for guests. You can see over here microwave and some type of oven. So very sparsely, or very small. Then you look on the left, and you can see the big difference. That living room is probably about the same size, if not bigger, than the one on the right. So it's a very big issue. All right, how did Japan get to be so crowded? Well, 50 years ago, Japan was largely rural. And if you remember, rural means living out in the country. So before, most people in Japan used to live out in the country. And most people lived in one-room story farms. So they'd live in a one-story house and they'd have a lot of farmland. However, they also live with their extended families. So when we think of extended families, we think of, for example, grandparents, the parents, and children all live together under the same roof. Now, in some cultures here in Lexington, this is very familiar, but for a lot of other people, it's not. However, this all changed in the 1950s when people started to decide that they wanted to either go to school and to work in the cities. So that's one of the things that changed Japan, and it made it more crowded and more populated, was the desire to work and go to school. Now, the Japanese have found very clever ways to make the most of the little space they have, and they've done this in numerous ways. One way is they have one room that is used for multiple purposes or multiple uses. And what that means is, if you look on the picture on the right, on the bottom right, that center table is light enough and portable enough where you can move it, fold it, and put it away. Therefore, it opens it up, and you don't have to worry about the table being in the way. Sometimes a room like that size would probably be used as a family room or living room. Could probably be used as some type of bedroom and so forth. Now, if you look on the left, you can see kind of a diagram of how a Japanese home is typically divided. Here you have the living room area, you have a bedroom, but you can see that the bedroom isn't really divided by an actual wall, just it looks like a folding wall. So you can see much more compact than in an American home. Also, many Japanese homes do not have separate bedrooms. You can kind of see in this goes to the example that I have here. This is technically all one room. The only thing that's dividing them is this wall. And the kitchen, all connected one way or another. There's no hallways, so much more connected. Alright. Another difference is at bedtime, Japanese roll out futons, which are kind of like roll-out mattresses, and sleep on them every night instead of having a regular bed. So that's kind of what a futon or something similar would look like this. What they do, every night they roll them out to sleep on, and then every morning they pick them up and put them away so that people don't step on them. Another thing that the Japanese have done is they make their appliances smaller, so that means smaller refrigerators, smaller stoves, smaller washing machines. Here you have a small refrigerator, kind of like, think of it as like a college dorm room refrigerator. A small microwave, we've seen those, and then their stove is simply just a 2-range stove instead of 4, and these aren't very big. So, some pretty noticeable differences. Alright, another thing that Japanese have done to maximize their space is that they're also making their cemeteries smaller, because graveyards take up way too much land. So instead of burying their deceased, people in Japan are starting to cremate them so that they can save more space. I mean, here you have an urn, which is where people put ashes when they get cremated, or an example of an urn. And then right here you have a traditional Japanese cemetery. But once again, they take up way too much land, and the one on the right is takes up much less space. Alright, another thing that Japan is very popular for are capsule hotels. Japan is home to the famous capsule hotels. These hotels are popular places for tourists to visit. These hotels make good use of the lack of land because they have essentially hotel rooms stacked up on one another. And you can see that. Here's a room, here's a room, here's a room, all the way down. Those are all rooms. Now, most capsule hotels have a mattress, TV, and some type of clock, and even a phone. So you can see in this one, on the left, we're looking at a capsule hotel from the inside. Here you have your TV. Looks like an outlet, maybe charge your phone or whatnot. Some type of map, flashlight. However, many of them also have restaurants and public guest areas that people can hang out in, which is kind of like this. Now, some capsule hotels are a little more fancier than others. Some are just kind of the bare minimum. It all depends on how much you're willing to spend and where you go. I mean, so these are just a few things that the Japanese have done to maximize their space. We'll talk more about these in the days to come. If you have any questions, like always, feel free to ask. Thank you.